Good afternoon, everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you, all the speakers here. We'll just start the session. It's 2 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and start with this session. A very good afternoon to all the dignitaries who've joined us for the 5th edition of the Global Dialogue on Advanced Technology. The theme of the global conference this year is Innovating at the Frontier from Agriculture to Agribusiness. The whole idea is to find innovative solutions for traditional agricultural challenges, showcase such solutions from across the globe, and create a platform for dialogue on how these can be adapted in India. The highly curated sessions at the Global Dialogue around soil and water management, farm monitoring, mechanization and automation, post-harvest technologies, and advanced biotech focus on discussing innovations for unleashing the optimum potential of the agriculture sector. We have over 25 international speakers joining us over the next 3 days. Coming to this session today on Next Gen Heroes in AgTech, we have a lineup of very interesting emerging startups from India discussing their innovations and the impact created towards pushing agriculture to agribusiness. We also have with us experts from the investment landscape who will highlight the emerging trends in the investment ecosystem. The panel will be moderated by Mr. Rohtash Mal, Co-Chair CII Task Force on Startups and Chairman EM3 Agri Services Private Limited. Mr. Mal, as you all know, is a corporate veteran with over 4 decades of experience in diverse sectors and multiple industries like agri-machinery, agriculture, telecom, automobiles, and many more. A strategist with keen business acumen, he's provided innovative solutions for executing greenfield projects, managing steady growth businesses, delivering 2 turnarounds and 4 startups. He's also a leading business coach to large corporates and a mentor and coach for young entrepreneurs. I would now hand over to Mr. Mal to take this session forward. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Rolly, and good afternoon, everybody. As usual, CII gives me the lighter jobs to do. So I have very little to do today. And you folks have a lot to do today. In this 90 minutes, I hope that we collectively experience the excitement that I felt when I saw finally the overall curated agenda for the next 2.5 days, as well as particularly this session that we're about to get on. But before I get going, there are a few key words that Rolly talked about in the last couple of minutes that she kicked off this session with. The first word that comes to mind is the term next gen. And I think that's crucial because that is where solutions will be found. As we proceed down the age curve, we get, shall we say, boxed in by what is otherwise known as experience. Important as it is also a blinder. It puts blinders around galloping horses. So they don't really get to do what they ought to be doing. So that's the first one. I'm delighted we have a few heroes, and that's not gender specific. So we have a lady and 4 guys. And I keenly, personally, am looking forward to hearing them. The next thing she talked about was the term heroes. Heroes was, these have been carefully filtered. These have been carefully brought up. It means that already there is a filtration that's going to say, yeah, these things look very, very promising. I looked down your resumes as well as some descriptions of what you're doing. And some of that stuff is really, really potent. And I'm going to really look forward to listening to you. These solutions are also to problems that are hard problems. Problems not heretofore accurately or compactly defined. And these really form the basis of innovation, and they form the basis of future value creation. These are the problems, the solutions to which actually create enormous value in the marketplace. And as we create that enormous value in the marketplace, obviously in the context that we are in farming, these are bound to create incredible value for the farmer, which should be the core of our effort in any case. So I'm, as I said, keenly looking forward to that. A couple of housekeeping tips to go with, and a plan for the session. We have now about 85 minutes. My plan for these 85 minutes is our two keynotes, about 10 minutes each, so that takes us to 20. About 7 to 8 minutes, 8 on the outside. Rolly, is that what we agreed? For each one of the 5. So that takes another 40. And I'm keeping aside 15 minutes in my hand for all the buzz that happens, the questions that are coming. Rolly and her team are going to be assisting me in getting the questions beforehand as they come on to the website. And let's see if we can make this freewheeling instead of unidirectional. Another one, I would be grateful if you introduced yourself very shortly, exactly what is the problem you're about to solve. The keynote speakers may please do the same. And what exactly are they bringing to this session? I'd like to hear a sentence or two, or we would like to hear a sentence or two, and then over to the 5 to come up with the innovations that they've carefully brought forward. So with that, let's tee off. May I request Aishwarya from Invest India to come on with her comments for 10 odd minutes. Thank you, Aishwarya. All yours.
Hi, thank you. Hi, hello everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Aishwarya Chauhan, and I'll be representing Startup India, Invest India. So just to give you a quick one-liner on what Startup India is, it is the government initiative to actually mobilize the startup ecosystem in India. And without further ado, I will actually now dive into a short presentation that I have actually prepared to run you through about what Startup India is doing for the startup ecosystem and specifically in AgTech. Is my presentation visible?
Yes. Yes.
It's visible. Okay, great. So a little bit about how Startup India actually started, very brief. It was started by our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, in 2016 Jan. There were 19 action points in the action plan that was launched, which was basically a foundation, which were across simplification and handholding, funding support and incentives, and industry academia partnership and incubation. Just to give you an overview how we've grown as a startup ecosystem over these few years, you can clearly see that there has been a 14x growth in the startups. There has been an exponential growth in unicorns. Like these days, every day we hear that, today X startup became a unicorn, Y startup. So it's raining unicorns these days. And then we have the investors, funding and incubators and policies at state levels that have increased 9x to 7x respectively. So you can see that each stakeholder and each player in this particular ecosystem is growing at a very high rate year on year, and we have seen such an amazing ecosystem that is coming up today. Now coming on to what has the government been doing as an enabler of the startup ecosystem. Now before I jump in, this is something that I think all startups, especially the AgTech startups, should be very well aware of, so that if and when you have an idea and you go on to legally defining your startup, this is a base frame that will help you understand, okay, you can go get a DPIT, Department of Promotion of Industry and Trade, recognition and legally be certified as a startup. So first, you can be a private limited, LLP, or a registered partnership. Your startup should be less than 10 years from the date of incorporation. You must not have exceeded 10 crores in 100 crores in any financial year, and your startup should create innovation, sustainability. There should be job creation and wealth creation. So this is an important, definition that we laid down in the beginning as a foundation. at Startup India, for each and every level, for each and every life cycle or stage, we have an activity or we have a support mechanism that we have curated for those startups. So be it a startup at ideation stage who has no idea how to go about creating their business. They just have an idea in head. You have the learning and development program. You can go there, you can get mentors, you can get that support mechanism, seed funding, and go ahead and create a startup. For startups that are in validation stage, we have regulatory reforms, we have ministerial support, we have tools and templates that you can go and utilize free of cost. For startups that are at the early traction and at the further expanding stage, we have programs curated to make sure that they are able to grow and collaborate with corporates, international bodies, and get cross-border exchange, showcase, exposure visits, and lastly, faster exit options. So we have, customized our entire initiatives at Startup India in such a manner that under each life cycle, there is a support mechanism for each and every startup. So I'll quickly now run you through that. If there is a startup here that would like to get recognized, how would you go about it? There's an online form that you can find at startupindia.gov.in, and you can go fill it up. It takes 15-20 minutes. Within the next 24 to 48 hours, you will your application that you've submitted online will be evaluated, and you'll get a recognition certificate by the DPIT, which will have a blockchain verification. Now you'll ask me that, okay, why is it important to get, a Startup India certification? So there are a number of benefits and the number of activities and initiatives that Startup India does for its beneficiaries. So one of some of the key benefits are there is easier norms for government procurement. There is a faster track system for patents. You are eligible to get tax benefits, and there is a self-certification compliance regime for these startups that are DPIT recognized. Apart from these benefits, of course, there are many other things that I'll subsequently be telling you in more detail through the next slide. To give you an overview of the agriculture startups that are there in our database, there are about 2,600 plus AgTech startups, out of which 45 are in the validation and scaling and 55 are in early traction and ideation stage. Now you'll see that actually more than 50% of the districts in India have at least one AgTech startup. And there is a very good nomination of women directors. At least 48% of these agri startups have women directors. And the best part is that each of these agri startups that are there, on an average, they create 8 jobs per startup. So they are creating innovations and employment, and they are panning across India. To give you a little bit of a geographic view, the top 3 states, on the right side, you can see the map. You can see that almost all UTs and states have a, agri-tech startup ecosystem going on. Top states being Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Uttar Pradesh that have a very booming and flourishing startup ecosystem in the agri-tech space. Coming to a couple of regulatory reforms, I'll just take this in brief. So at Startup India, we're continuously making sure that there's ease of doing business. For each and every startup, there's an ease of regulatory support, and there is a support with the states. So we have taken about 700 plus regulatory support mechanisms and by the government of India to make it easier for a startup to come in and enable itself. And we've also integrated with states to make a single window clearance system for our startup ecosystem. Next is the Startup India Hub. I think this is very, very beneficial to know for all the players that are there in the startup ecosystem, because this is the one-stop shop through which we have all our activities, we have all our programs and initiatives, virtual showcase, all the reports. We have a learning and development program. So I would suggest all of you to actually go visit the online presence of Startup India, register yourselves. You will be able to even get recognition from this very website. So it's a one-stop shop for any and every sort of, activity, initiative, information, resource that you might require in your startup journey. I've actually put in 2 programs that were currently open in the month of December on our portal. So one is the Animal Husbandry Startup Grand Challenge. This is the second version. This is an annual thing. It has a deadline of 31st December 2021. So this is in collaboration with the Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairy. So we are inviting actually applications from innovative startups across 6 problem statements. Winners will be receiving 10 lakhs and runners-up will be receiving 7 lakhs as monetary support. And there will be virtual masterclasses, showcase, demo, etc. Another initiative, this is also Together 2022. This is a annual exercise. Again, this is the second version that we do. This is again has one of the key sectors is agriculture. And here we provide boot camps, venture competitions, and a support mechanism of 28 lakhs for startups. So this is the Schulich Business School based in Canada. So we help aspiring students and entrepreneurs, give them that support and mentorship to grow. So agri is one of the key sectors here as well. So I would surely encourage, while the Together 21 deadline has been closed now, but Animal Husbandry Startup Grand Challenge, anyone who has an innovative idea, please do go and register yourself here. Next is funding mechanisms. Funding plays such an important role in a startup journey. So at Startup India, we have 2 mechanisms that are live. One is the SIDBI fund of funds, through which DPIT has committed a certain amount to SIDBI, and SIDBI distributes these funds to EIS, which are further distributed to startups. I'm really happy to tell you that 9% of all the startups that are funded, we have about 56 industries. 9% of the startups are based out of the agri-tech industry directly. So this is a great opportunity for all the agri startups to actually go and get funding, who are generally at a, I would say, validation to scaling stage. Now for early stage startups, this year itself, we launched a seed fund scheme. And this scheme actually flows DPIT committing money to incubators, and incubators then further extending it to startups. Again, in this particular scheme, 9% of the beneficiaries are actually from the agriculture space. So for any of the entrepreneurs looking for funding, please do go and visit these 2. And both of the information will be available at the Startup India website itself. Coming to market access, another thing that we realize in a startup journey is collaborating with other stakeholders. So be it collaborating with government bodies, ministries, other departments, autonomous bodies, partnering with domestic players, corporates, or partnering with international countries and having international engagements. We have curated challenges, programs, etc., where startups can actually come in and engage with these different stakeholders and actually establish links and networking, get business work orders, business opportunities, research and development, monetary support, mentorship, a plethora of incentives that are monetary and non-monetary. To give you a quick case study, we actually had 2 such initiatives in the past. There are many more, but I have picked out these 2 just to give you a quick gist of how is it that we work with different. So we had a
just to keep to time, I'd be grateful if you could try and wrap this up.
Yeah, just give me 2 more minutes. I'll quickly wrap this up. And so India and Israel and Netherlands, we worked with both of these countries where agriculture was one of the key spaces, areas that we collaborated on. Winners received, pitching, incubation, grants, etc. So continuously we are going ahead and collaborating with countries to actually have such engagements. I'll quickly run you through this. This is a National Startup Awards, an annual exercise that we conduct. Very, very soon, we will be releasing the results for 2021 and opening applications for 2022. So all of the agriculture startups that are here and allied services, I would urge you all to go and have a look at it and be a part of this ecosystem. Another couple of marquee events that we organize year on year on an annual basis. And lastly, this slide is an overview of everything that we have done. These are selected activities that we have done and we do on a regular basis. The Animal Husbandry Challenge, Agriculture Grand Challenge, Virtual Mentorship Series, and the National Startup Awards. These are all pertinent for this particular sector. So I would suggest you guys follow us on the Startup India portal. And if you have any queries, if you have any questions, please do reach out to us on these. I'll put out the handles for you as well. And that's about it from my side.
Thank you, Aishwarya. Sorry I had to hurry you at the end.
No problem.
But I think you got it all across. So for everybody on the program today, the money is waiting. It's beckoning you, in fact. The government has put together a structure to be able to achieve this. The enabling provisions are very much there. And now it's over to the startups because money won't come. It'll have to be brought. And this money will follow, as I said earlier, will follow what is the problem you're solving and what is the scale of the solution and who's willing to pay for it. Eventually, money will follow those solutions where the customer of the idea or the customer of the technology is willing to pay a price, right? So thank you, Aishwarya. That was well done indeed. And with that, may I request Amar from FMC to come and make his thoughts known to us. Let's take the session forward. Thank you, Aishwarya.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Perfect. Thank you. So I'm a managing director at FMC Ventures, corporate venture arm for FMC Corp. I'm based here in San Francisco. It's well past my midnight, but we also have obviously regional presence in India as well. My focus is here to, the way we look at it, the global AgTech scene is, if there's any innovation anywhere that could radically alter how crop inputs are made, how they're sold, how they're applied, by default, we're interested. In addition to capital, we, just like Mr. Mal mentioned, we can provide market access and guidance to the extent founders and their teams are open to it. With that, I'll pass the mic back to you, Mr. Mal.
Pardon me. Hello?
Yep.
Amar, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, something happened. Everything stopped. Hello?
Can
you hear me?
Can you hear me okay?
I now can. Please continue. I think for a while, everything froze.
I don't know where my call dropped out.
Well, any innovations, etc., that are the relevant ones are your business, and you were explaining your relevance, and then you suggested, if I heard you correctly, that we should move on with the rest of the program.
That's right. That was my last comment. Yes.
Oh, yes. Essentially, what we were hoping to hear from you is your interest, the themes that would you like to spend a minute or two talking about the themes that you begged?
Oh, sure thing.
More, so that I do realize it's very, very late there, but thank you for taking the trouble for us.
Yeah, no problem. I can go on for a very long time. I just wanted to be efficient with the time. So specifically with respect to themes, again, I hesitate to put buckets, and then because once you have put these buckets or sectors, then you have your blinders on. I want to make sure we don't have our blinders on. And if there's anything coming from left field, we see it early and we see it clearly. However, that being said, what we have done so far, we have backed things like robotics, alternatives to pesticides such as pheromones, peptides, drone spraying, and sensors that could read early pest detection. So these are some of the things. But instead of having an agenda and then going out and saying, hey, these are the things we are looking for, we let the market educate us, which is you, the founders, tell me, how are you going to solve the problem? And then we discuss and very openly and candidly discuss with you how we can play a part. And that includes whether it's capital injection and or advisory or market access. And one investment we have, the first one we have done in India is Tartan Sense. It's a ground-based robot. And what attracted us to Tartan Sense was just the caliber of the team and exceptional engineering prowess that the team has. And obviously, I don't need to tell this audience how large and how big the Indian market is. I mean, there are 30 million acres of cotton. That's the first use case for Tartan Sense. And from what I know, I think they are the only ground-based robotics company that is solving a problem in weeding, and that's with using mechanical hoeing as well as spot spraying in India. So obviously we're very, very, very excited given our FMC's position within the value chain in India.
All right. So what you've told us, Amar, is that if we were in the world of entertainment, you're a talent spotter, right? And that makes absolute sense. Okay, so let's get you to spot talent today. And so we had Invest India talking to us about the entire enabling system, and here you have spotting talent. In which case, may I invite Renuka to come in with a short introduction of herself and her company, and then take about 7-8 minutes to talk about the company so that we may appreciate far more deeply what you're about to do or what you're doing. Over to you, Renuka.
Sure. First of all, thank you for giving us a platform to present the work that we do at BioPrime. I'll start with the introduction of who we are. So BioPrime is an ag biotech company founded by 3 researchers with the aim of bringing back pride and profits to the farmers. We started in 2016 with the vision of addressing climate change related impact. The thing that drew us towards climate change was globally, we have almost 70% of the land that is being subjected to climate change impact and resulting into continuous drop in productivity. And in India, with the fragmented land holdings and small and marginal farmers dominating our producing chain, this problem is much more severe. And so we wanted to kind of focus on this very aspect. What we saw that what the farmer realizes in his field today is the plants are not growing properly. They inadvertently add more nutrients, more fertilizers. They have to take more sprays for insecticides and pesticides. And though the cost of inputs are mounting, there is no guarantee of a successful yield, and there is no guarantee of good quality of produce, which means that his productivity keeps on dropping simultaneously. So the challenge for us was, how do we ensure a solution that is easy for somebody like a small and marginal farmer in our country to use and to adopt as per his practices. And that led us to focusing on our expertise and delivering a solution from our own expertise, which is using plant biotechnology. So what we did is we focused on something which is called as plant communication. So plants have this wonderful way of signaling, which means they are able to perceive their environment, and they perceive that environment by making or secreting very specific biomolecules. So they form an integral part of this beautiful system called plant signaling. And for people who are not aware of how wonderful plant signaling is, I can just remind you to the movie Avatar, where you have Pandora and a lot of communication that they have shown that happens in the plant. And though that's a figment of imagination, something like that actually exists in the plant community, where plants are sending very specific signals, not just within themselves, but from one plant to another plant. And the beauty of these signals are they are very specific. They can very rapidly be perceived by the plants, so as to tell them and convey what kind of threat that the plant is being exposed to. So at BioPrime, we focus on identifying these kind of biomolecules. We focus on manufacturing these kind of biomolecules at scale, and develop solutions to address various aspects of climate change, whether it is fluctuating temperature conditions, whether it is unseasonal rains, whether it is flooding. And I'm very happy to say that right now we have about 8 products that we have commercialized, adopted over 50,000 acres in the country. I'm very also happy to say that with the new guidelines that India has released on biostimulants, we look to be one of the first companies to register our products under these categories. What is beneficial for the small farmers or farmers across is because they are biomolecules, and because we focus on inherent mechanisms in plants, they're conserved across species. So it's a crop agnostic solution, and very targeted. So that helps the farmer to see tangible results very rapidly, just like he is used to with chemicals. So adoption for the farmer becomes very, very simple. These biomolecules have very good stability, very good shelf life, and have an extremely good potential of have an extremely good tank mix compatibility. So they can be used with all the present agrochemicals. Adoption from the farmer's perspective becomes very easy, and therefore we see a lot of farmers who are not just interested in organic farming, but also farmers who are interested, who continue to do chemical intensive farming, adopting these kind of solutions and trying to become more sustainable. So this forms the basis of our technology platform called Sniper, which stands for Smart Nanomolecules Induced Physiological Response. So this is a high throughput screening mechanisms for lead discovery of molecules. Besides this, we work on a platform called BioNexus, wherein we are building the country's largest plant-associated microbes. And herein we are focusing on a concept called hologenomics, which means that the fitness of a plant is not just the interaction of genes and the environment, but the genes, the organisms, microorganisms that inhabited the plant and the environment. So these microbes will be able to give something we call as a trait modifying effect to the plants. So these are two aspects that we work on. I'm very happy to, at this point say that government happens to be a very big part of our journey. We are funded and supported by the Department of Biotechnology's Buyback program. We are a Startup India and the IPP registered company. We are hugely supported by Niti Aayog through grants and scale-up aids that they have given us. So a lot of credit goes to the ecosystem that the government has helped build and helped startup like us come to this stage. So I'll stop at this point and look forward to more discussions and interactions. Thank you.
Thank you, Renuka. Roli, do we have any questions which have come on our screens?
Not so far, sir, not right now. I have just shared one question with you, which we already have on the chat.
Okay, where is this? All right, but that's not related to Renuka.
Yes, yes.
We'll pick that up later. However, I do have a question for you, Renuka. And that is, we've got these markers. We know roots and leaves talk to each other. We know that the trunk and the stems are the pathways of communication, right? So how do we decode this chatter, so to speak, to take decisions? What are the decisions?
That's a very interesting question. So it takes a lot of work to decode the chatter because there is a lot of things that are happening in the plant simultaneously. So we rely on multiple different approaches, which is physiological, biochemical, molecular, as well as metabolite screening. So we do analysis of different kinds. We subject the plants basically to different kinds of stresses, or for example, if you're looking to develop a lead for a fungus, or if you're looking to develop a lead for temperature fluctuation, we subject the plants to these kind of stresses and then analyze over a lot of things. What kind of genes are being activated? What kind of biochemical changes are happening? What kind of physical changes are happening in the plant architecture? And what kind of metabolites are changing? So then you basically put all of this together and subtract the common things, which ends up with a couple of different differentially expressed, let's say, molecules or genes. So that becomes our lead for development. So it's a very lengthy process, but that's where these platform technologies, help us reduce the cost and reduce the efficiency of prediction. So it's because of these kind of technologies we are able to screen hundreds and thousands of molecules within a short span of time and at a fraction of cost.
Great. I have a question from Dr. Hema from Yara. And Dr. Hema is asking, have you tested these for any problems or challenges in the current status? You may interpret that whichever way you wish. And I have a supplementary as well, which is where else around the world is work happening in similar domains?
I'll take that serially. I'll answer Dr. Hema's question. So we have tested this in different type of crops, right from cereals to row crops to vegetables, export-oriented crops, exotics as well. And on very specific problems, what we have tested on is climate change related impact for rice, wheat. We've done this for vegetables. What we conduct is a ROI kind of study, which is return on investment. For example, for every rupee that a farmer spends on bioprime products, how much more is he able to earn? So these kind of assays we've done for grapes, we've done for onions, then we're right now conducting for potatoes, sugarcane. Right now, besides the product that we have launched in the market, which is for climate change related impact, we're working on developing leads for biofungicides and related biopesticides. And to answer your question, sir, currently there are a couple of companies that focus on physiology-based modulation. One of the prime leading companies in this area is Valagro, which also focuses on physiology-based modulation and developing biologicals based on this approach. So a lot of work is going on in countries like Israel. There's a lot of work that is going on in European countries as well. There are companies that are working on very specifically, like we do, on signaling molecules as well. So there are at least 6-7 companies that we are aware of which are working on plant signaling molecules based approach globally, and each one has their own path that they have chosen. Yeah.
Right. Renuka, thank you so much, and all the best. I look forward to use, we need to get somebody to pay for this. And one use case that has come up is autonomous fertigation, using this chatter and decoding this chatter. And that's yielded some very positive results. Do look it up. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you, sir. Sir, if just on my way out, if I could add one more thing is, we're also testing for nutrient use efficiency. And the total evidence from all our farmers suggests that they are able to reduce fertilizer yields by 10-20%, actually increasing the efficiency of fertilizers. So right now we've set up trials with universities in the country for testing fertilizer use efficiency. So we see a lot of synergies with the fertilizer companies in the country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. With that, may I invite Sandeep to share his views, comments, and presentation, if any?
Yeah, hi. Hello, everyone. So I am Sandeep Kondaji. I'm the founder and CEO of Krishi Tantra. Krishi Tantra is formed with a vision of making the soil health information accessible and also available to the entire value chain. So today, if you take any of the agri value chain, starting from the farmers to the input companies, supply chain companies, fintech companies, the entire decision making that is happening around that is, with that fundamental information which is lacking, because of which farmer is overusing the fertilizer or underusing the fertilizer. And because of that, we all know what is the condition and situation today is on the soil health. So over majority of the soils in the world is ranging from 0.2 to 0.4%. So we are moving towards almost taking the soil to desertification. So, and that is the reason where the entire objective of bringing this soil health information, making accessible to farmers, thereby bringing this aspect of balanced application of fertilizer is very much a need of that. And at the same time, now input companies like any of the we all know that soil is basically a life science. So you have microbes playing its role in contribution to the crop development and productivity. Now positioning the right set of products and also the crops also becomes very critical. And for that again, soil health information is essential for these kind of companies to also position that. So that is where now Krishi Tantra has developed a platform, a soil health platform, on the basis of we have developed a rapid data accumulation system, which does the soil health profiling in under 30 minutes, where the macro, micronutrients, and also the microbiological information is being estimated. And based on that, the recommendations and all have been provided to the farmers. And also we share the APIs to the further value chain companies where they can take the appropriate decision. So today we have about 2 patents pending on the products that we have developed. And also we have evolved with an artificial intelligence system where using the satellite imagery, we are able to estimate pH, phosphorus, and potassium. And going forward, we would be adding more to that line of it. And now the presence in India is about 12 states. And we are working with enterprises, larger enterprises, and also government. So we are working with government of Telangana and Karnataka in providing the soil fertility map to the government. And also today, government of Telangana under the National E-Governance Program. So government of Telangana wants to make farmers coming under, they want to give, they want to make farmers unfollow the practice of monocropping. So again, soil health platform plays a major role over there, and where we are proud to say that Krishi Tantra was being chosen for this particular program in order to provide this particular facility to the farmers through the government. So that's in a nutshell about what Krishi Tantra does, and the only thing that what we believe is this system has to be made available at a global scale, and that's where Krishi Tantra is moving towards and progressing towards to make it making it as a large-scale soil health platform and making it available to the entire world. Thank you.
Thank you. That was quick. I was hoping we'd hear more about this very, very important thing: soil health, soil chemistry, soil physics, soil compositions, and absolutely crucial to germination and plant growth. Rolly, do we have any questions coming in? Okay.
Not yet. Yeah.
While they do,
Yes, we have one, I think.
You do? I can't see it on my screen yet. Can you read it out, Rolly?
How business works with village level entrepreneurs and how it is impacting incomes of rural people.
So the model that we have adopted is on again with the village level entrepreneurs. So what we have created is a soil data acquisition center. So through village level entrepreneurs, we have established more than about 350 centers so far across 12 states in India. So these village level entrepreneurs provide this as an extension service to the farmers, and the profiling of these village level entrepreneurs, also some of them have also evolved further by getting fertilizer shops. So that is making them engage very effectively and efficiently with the farmers and provide the right set of advice and guidance and the products made available to the farmers. So on an average, we are seeing our products were launched in 2019, and so far more than 40,000 soil tests have been done on our platform, and nearly about 27,000 farmers have availed this particular services, and more than 12,000 farmers have done a repetitive testing. So now what we are seeing the trend on an average for every village level entrepreneur, they are able to do about 2,000 soil tests in a year. So that means they are able to, on an average per test, they are able to earn also at the same time 250 rupees is the gross profit that they are making out of each soil test. So that is adding to their livelihood and then income. So that is the change that is happening at the rural level, and at the same time we are bringing this kind of technology near and making it more accessible to the farmers, where thereby the entire ecosystem is having that symbiotic effect.
So, Sandeep, a question from my side as a supplement. This is still chemical analysis, right?
Yeah, it's a chemical analysis. But what we have made is we have made the entire system automated. So we have built a small robotic unit within a 1 cubic feet device, and whatever happens in a lab is being entirely mimicked inside that. And then we have developed a customized photospectrometer, and there is a machine learning algorithm also, which basically reduces the time. So efficiently for all these 11, 12 parameters, which used to take about 2 weeks time for a lab to develop the results, has been made now in under 30 minutes.
So are you looking at a business model that will produce these devices for rapid testing? Or are you talking about a business model that is a service model where you provide testing services?
The first one. So that's the model that we will be going forward with. Yeah. So we'll be providing more and more soil data acquisition centers made across, so which will basically make at the village level these kind of services made available and more near to the farmers, and at a scale we will be able to deploy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. You're on to solving a very large problem. For 440 million acres require periodic testing to signal how much fertilizer and other things. And are there any plans to test the physical composition of the soil as well, compaction and so on? Because roots need chemicals, and roots need roots to go in. ROUTES. Roots need roots to go into the depths.
Yes, there is. I mean, soil has millions of dynamics which will play, and physical, chemical, and microbiological parameters are the main things which entirely is the main component which are the constituents of the soil. And so the critical aspects of this entire, which will basically decide on the plant promotion and the growth of it. So that's where we'll be building on that. So right now we'll be also introducing heavy metals and also specific bacterial activity which will be analyzed, like the presence of nitrogen fixing bacteria, the presence of phosphorus fixation bacteria, which were earlier, till date it was all available only at the research level. So which were not happening at the ground, which is where exactly it is required, and that is what we are bringing it onto the ground and developing these information base, so that this entire process of making information available is democratized to the entire value chain.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. Let me check if there's any further question coming in.
So we have a question from Mr. Amar Singh for Sandeep. I've posted it for you.
Okay. Yeah. Can you walk me through a use case? How much do I pay as a farmer? And what do I get in return? I.e., I presume he means a blood report. And how do you provide this service that is hard to replicate by your competitors? Yeah. Back to you for the last question for this part, and before I move on.
So one aspect for a farmer is immediate benefit for a farmer today, that we have thousands of use cases where a farmer has saved at least 30% on the input cost when it comes to the trade fertilizer. And also we are able to see a trend where it has also benefited a fertilizer company, where there is a traction on the micronutrient consumption also growing, because of which farmer is able to optimize their input usage, which is benefiting their crop productivity and also sequester more and more carbon. So today we are working with two of the companies which are basically into carbon trading. So where we are sharing this information, which also will benefit for a period of time to the farmers in terms of carbon credit. So it is just not one-time benefit, which will start with the benefit of savings in terms of excessive usage of fertilizer, but also it has got a successive follow-on improvements in terms of their productivity, which we are observing now, at least 15% of productivity being improved, and also the soil health also being improved further to that. And for a competition level, so we are the only company where we have the ability to get the entire 360-degree visibility of the soil health, which is physical composition, chemical composition, and microbiological information. And using which we are also further developing the data models and algorithms using satellite imagery, which is backed with this ground truthing and ground information to evolve and make certain parameters like phosphorus, potassium, and these kind of estimations being made available at a larger scale in very quick manner. So which will continue to add, and that's exactly where the mode that we are having towards that.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much, Sandeep. That was fascinating. And with that, may I request Rajendra from Fresh Carts to come on, and we are keenly waiting to listen to you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you and thank you, CI, for inviting me for this session. And good to see many people who are doing very great work, innovation, and also working with few of like we are already working with Mr. Sandeep here. So I think ecosystem can together build a good business. So that kind of vision we are having. So I'll give you a brief about what we are doing at Freshocart. It's almost 5 years. I come from a very a small village in Rajasthan. Come from a farming family. Have seen the challenges when I was growing up. Even if you are coming from a farming family, you are always a part-time farmer. So I have seen those challenges every time. They do good amount of hard work, and it comes to the earning part. Everywhere there are challenges, in terms of input usage, what input usage they have to do. So what type of input they have to use. Other than that, when it's come to selling, again, where to sell, they keep stocking, they don't get price. So I have seen that challenge for more than 10-15 years. So after my college, I worked as a software developer and then came back and let's do something in agriculture only.
like startup journey, I have seen like it's not that easy. So I myself see like we have changed model 2-3 times. We started as a supply chain company that we will be procuring directly from farmers and selling to B2B customers, mostly like Horeca, retailers and all. We continued with that model for 2.5 years, but there were different kind of challenges like less technology use. It was challenges to procure less quantities from farmers. Farmer were not much educated before 3-4 years that they like we have to pay them upfront and then we have to.
Rajendra, could you be louder, please? We are not able to hear you very loud. Please.
Okay, sure. Hello, I think
Go ahead. Let's try again with
Yeah, so it's fine now.
loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Yeah, so there were challenges in the supply chain part, like connecting farmers to the market directly, and then we realized like farmers also need other solutions like agri import, advisory, and all. So after like you can say it's almost in the tomorrow we'll be completing almost 5 years of starting Fresho Card. I just give you numbers like we are today connected with more than 1.5 lakh farmers, have done transactions with more than 50,000 farmers here in Rajasthan for like output, agri imports, advisory, soil testing, financial products, and all. So what we are doing at Fresho Cart, I will also share a small slide here. Yeah, so we are building a complete full stack model for farmers through village level entrepreneurs. So we call them Fresho Cart Sarthi. So how these Sarthis work that so like we tried different models. First we opened like physical centers at every tehsil level, and then we started delivering agri input to farmers. But again, and farmers can also come to our centers and they can also procure the agri input directly from our centers. But again, these centers were having reach of only in 4-5 kilometers area. So then we realized like how to go to every single village. Because the problem is that in every single India has like in Rajasthan only, I'll talk about numbers of Rajasthan. We have around almost around 50,000 villages, but agri input retailer is not available in every single village because there are very small villages also, and even they have to go to the like the retailers where they were going from last 15 years, 20 years. They take in credit and they never ask for the rates and all. So what we are developing that in every single village we are onboarding 3 to 5 ELEs. We call them Fresho Cart Sarthi. It's a small like mobile. It's a mobile application with more than 10 plus services onboarded and integrated with more than 5,000 products, and even including our Fresho Card branded private label products. So these Sarthis sell to the group of farmers or the network of farmers. Like one Sarthi can be connected with around 20 to 50 farmers. Farmer can come to these Sarthis. They can ask for, let's say, I required these Pioneer mustard seed, and the Sarthi just place the order. Fresho Card deliver these agri input from its nearby hub in next like 24 hours or in next day delivery. So this is how we got today around 50 plus hubs, which is connected with more than 1,500 villages. And there is a like 10 services, more than 5,000 SKUs here. So like our main USP, you can say like a technology solution, like everyone in the village can have a shop in their pocket. Private label products also hub and spoke model that we don't have to deliver from like let's say from Jaipur, we are delivering all over us, and not like that in every tehsil level that farmer don't have to wait more than a day to get the agri inputs. Quality also, so we got here more than 35 plus agri input companies, almost all the big brands partnered with like UPL, Basab, Syngenta, Crystal, Cephalonis, all these companies directly partner with Fresho Cut. That so these companies provide delivery till our hubs, and from there we deliver to these farmers. So that's kind of solution which we are building. This is how we can create a deeper and faster penetration at every single village. Because how right now how it's happening that farmer is going to the nearby village or kaspa level and then they are procuring there. Only they don't have many products to choose there. So it's like a local language app that even these artists go through a training program. So let's say it's a 1 hour training, then you start selling these products to farmers. And if there is any issue, we have a dedicated call center team, and even all the companies we have close partnership. Let's say if there is a issue in UPL's product, so there is a dedicated team of UPL which is working with Fresho Card that instantly they will get solution. directly from the company which is having their product. In case of the retailers, most of them are not having that kind of deep level knowledge about pesticide and all. So this is how we are creating a penetration at the farmers level. Today, what services we are providing to the farmers? These are like agri inputs, connecting farmers directly with the market, like buying from the farmers and selling to B2B customers. So we got customers like output and advisory also there. So in output, we have like Reliance, Udan, or there are many customers. They are buying directly from farmers. So why they should buy through Fresho Card? Because again, we have at every single village level presence. So anyone who, let's say tomorrow Reliance want to procure something, so it's not possible for them to go to every single village. So they can tell Fresho Card that we want to procure this 500 metric ton of wheat. We just send notification to all these RTs and they will just submit their like this much of quantity is available with our network of farmers, and if you want to procure, you can procure from this area. Quality photos, everything we get at the same place. Other than financial products, like anything like equipment financing or loan, tractor loan, anything they require, they can just submit a form in our mobile application through Sarthi, and they will get solution accordingly. Soil testing. So what we are doing that we have partnered with Krishi Tantra only. That how it works. We have a form in our mobile application. Sarthi just go to the farmer. They will ask them that do you want to get the soil testing done and advise you accordingly. Based on that, we collect the sample and provide soil testing in maximum like 1 or 2 days time. So also we have customized crop advisory area wise, like let's say in every 30-40 kilometers, there are some crop type changes or water level changes here. Mostly in Rajasthan, I have seen that. So accordingly, which crop we have to suggest, what are the like results for last year, last 2 years. Based on that, we have made different kind of packages. So it's also easy for Sarthis to recommend farmer that what they need to grow. Let's say Sarthi is not that much educated, but how they can suggest them. So automatically there are recommendation based systems or packages which our app suggests for Sarthis to suggest to the farmer. So this is how we are working like machinery, cattle feed, and all the products. So you can say single platform, a social commerce platform for farmers to get all the services in one place. Or like we are targeting right now in Rajasthan and also started operating in MP and Gujarat. And this is just small Sarthi, like how we are onboarding and all. Got almost 1.25 registered farmers. It's very easy to onboard 2,000 to 5,000 Sarthis every year. Already got around 3,000 plus Sarthis now. 40 live hub, which has potential to connect with 2,000 plus villages and 300,000 plus farmers. So that's I'll stop the presentation here.
Good.
Yeah, so that's all. I think that's basic. I think if anyone have any question, I can answer that. Or yeah.
Okay, I'm checking my screen to see. Yeah, Rajinder, how are you supporting hyperlocal delivery of ag inputs and ensuring buyback arrangement? I think you explained that, but could you tell the same thing differently?
Yeah, so we have seen before, like the retailers model is already working for many years, traditional retailers and all. New age companies, there are many startups, they are also delivering to farmers, taking 4, 5, 6 days time to deliver to farmers, and they were like more than 30-40% of the orders which was getting returned. So then with all this study, market study, case study with some of the players, and we have also done ourselves, we tried run a pilot model and seen like how the farmers are responding. And in the times of seasons and all, we have seen like farmer in the rainy seasons or like they require some product instantly. They can't wait for 5-7 days. So we have come up with a solution that we will develop these, you can say dark store at every tehsil level. So in one tehsil, there are like around more than 100 villages. So I think we can deliver to these more than 100 villages in 1 day timing. So this is how, let's say today we are getting orders and tomorrow we'll be delivering, and we finalize the route, in which route this delivery boy will be going and delivering these orders. So this is how we started working on the limited area, and today we are covering more than 500 plus villages in different areas. Let's say in one tehsil we are covering 20-25 villages, and this is how gradually we are increasing the area of operations, like area of delivery. So I think this is a model where we have to build these dark store or hubs in different areas to provide faster delivery to the farmers. And also in different areas, there will be different kind of inventories. So it's easy for management. Most of the companies provide delivery to all our hubs. So we don't have to procure from anywhere, just we have to take care of the delivering to the farmers. And we are doing that through onboarding commission-based delivery agents in different areas. So mostly delivery is handled by us only, not with any other delivery companies at all. And market linkages part, yeah. So market linkage is simple. Let's say someone want to procure, I have given example of Reliance. So our Sarthis, let's say one Sarthi is connected with 20 farmers. So they themselves know like which of his farm network of farmers already having wheat stock. So he will only put detail of these people. Based on that, our output team connect with these farmers. They see, they check it, they check the quality and everything, and based on that, the procurement happens.
Excellent. I too don't have another question, but good luck to becoming the Amazon of inputs and
Thank
outputs.
you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we are becoming like one-stop shop. Vision is that to become one-stop shop, because we have realized like that's the need from the farmer side.
That's correct. Thank you. I think
So we have one question that has come in. What is the profile of the Sarthis?
Yeah. So Sarthis are like, it could be, most of these Sarthis are like, you can say some farmers, they have some extra time of, let's say 1 or 2 hour daily basis, or when they understood the model, like, yes, I can also earn maybe 5,000, 10,000 per month, even from my network and even sitting at the home. So most of these Sarthis they have basic knowledge about corn or some agriculture. So most of why these are coming from farming background, because most of the farmers have heard the product's name, like in mustard, there are 4 companies, seed mostly other farmers use, like in pesticide for seed treatment, they use like buyers this product. So this is how they already have basic knowledge. So mostly like anyone can become Sarthi, and they just have to go to a training program. But just out from our side, requirement is that they should have the basic knowledge of the mobile application and how to use it. If they can easily take care of that, and all the payments, everything is online. So if someone can understand that, anyone can become that.
Brilliant. Thank you. And with that, may I now request Kshitij of AgroGrade to make his.
Hello everyone. Thank you, CA, for having me on panel. From AgroGrade, can anyone give me a confirmation if you can write the
Perfect.
I'll share my screen so I come from a farming background. Unfortunately, my family had to quit farming in 2008, 2009, owing to financial reasons. We didn't get market access, a lot of reasons. So when we did our engineering, we wanted to contribute something towards through technology that we can build. So the biggest problem that we saw is getting market access, right? And even in that, there wasn't anything that could establish a fair pricing mechanism. We have a lot of standards in quality when it comes to other parameters, other commodities. But in fresh produce, it's very subjective. A premium quality for one may not be the premium quality, maybe even a lower average, below average quality for someone else. So there's nothing that can establish a trust between a buyer and a seller because it's very subjective in nature. So that is something that we saw. The current processes were very subjective, which resulted in a lot of problems such as food loss, unfair price mechanism, compensation, a lot of delay of the produce in reaching the market, a lot of shelf life. As we have the term, a single rotten apple can destroy the entire bunch, right? If you would have always also faced this yourself, because those are perishable in nature, right? These processes need to happen at very fast. The produce needs to be segregated at source so that we can save upon that valuable shelf life that we have. So what we do is we utilize technology to segregate produce as per as marketability, depending upon multiple parameters that have been defined by major retail players in India, export guidelines, also ENAM parameters. So we make the produce market ready. The way we do that is we have our own machines, we have our mobile applications. We use computer vision and deep learning to analyze quality of each and every product that goes through our process. And it's segregated based on the specifications that have been provided. As you can see, those are some images of the onion value chain, onion intervention that we have done. We've installed this at an SPC where we are able to help them reach better markets by improving the marketability of the produce. Because the uniform quality always fetches a premium price and gives them an edge over the existing competitors. And once you have removed the rotten produce, that can be diverted towards secondary market. This also helps market leakage companies and buyers to optimize their procurement processes. They can procure the uniform quality from multiple locations. That was one of the key problems while procurement for them. Also, it helps FCGs target those retailers. Those are the images of the machines that we have deployed here now. We are working in fruits and vegetables. Till date, we have worked on multiple commodities, onions, tomatoes, potatoes, sweet lime and oranges, to name a few. We are working actively in Maharashtra, and we are now coming up with solutions in Uttar Pradesh as well for the potato value chain. To give you a brief, so what we are trying to do is we are trying to solve the trust deficit in that value chain, right? When the buyer needs to know what is being bought and the supplier needs to know what is the requirement of that buyer, which is where major of the loopholes are existing in this horticulture value chain. There are major disputes when it comes to payment, all which correlates to quality of the produce. That is something that we wanted to get everyone, buyers and sellers, on the same page so that we can at least solve some of the loopholes in the value chain. I'll be happy to take input.
Thank you, Kshitij. Let's wait for some questions. I don't see, but I'm sure they're coming. But meanwhile, it becomes my duty to fill in their time. So, who's paying you for this service?
So the biggest advantage that we are bringing to the value chain is we are making this accessible to everyone. So we are tying up with FPCs to provide this as a service to even farmers. And those service costs are even lower than the manual costs that they are facing. The advantage that it gives them is FPCs are able to generate revenue. Also, FPCs are now able to reach retail customers and assure them a quality, which was previously impossible. We were working with an FPC which was getting 1 rupee more in the market because the produce was graded sorted through our solution. That is the advantage that we are bringing to them.
What is your business model? You sell the machine to the FPC?
So we work on multiple business models. One is direct purchase for exporters, big players, where they want to just automate the supply chain. And we also work on a service-based model. So we have our own centers where we work with FPCs to provide this as a service. And we also provide a rental model. So whatever makes the technology accessible is our key motive.
Wonderful. So I see that you're segregating on size. I saw onions being segregated on size. Let's pick up another thing. Let's say apples. You'd have to do it for blemish, color, sugar, etc., etc. Any thought on that?
Definitely. I'm glad you brought that up. So earlier, the solutions that were available were mostly based on size. We have worked with a lot of retail modern trade players in India for the last 3 years. And what we realized is size is not the only quality parameter that matters, right? As you mentioned, surface quality, blemishes, internal rot. There are multiple factors in perishable value chain. So we use an array of sensors, cameras, and spectrometers to analyze those. Each very particular to the commodity that you're working with. So we detect parameters like rotting, sprouting, skin off, surface damages, shape defects, anything under the domain that comes under that is identified as quality by those retail players and export players, etc. So when it comes to apples and everything, we are already working with partners where we are integrating spectrometers to even detect bricks levels, to even detect internal quality parameters. So this becomes an end-to-end solution for them.
Excellent. Waiting for your questions. Apparently, you were so clear that there are no questions. Thank you.
So, sir, there are 2 questions that had come.
Can you pull them up?
Yeah. The first one is your machine application applicable for citrus? How is disease identification done? And the second is, how do you charge the customers?
Yeah. So coming to the point of commodities, so we cater to all spherical commodities, fruits and vegetables, potatoes, onions, oranges, sweet lime, everything under the radar. that is something that we can customize a solution for. So citrus, definitely, yes, we have already had deployments for our mobile application when it comes to citrus, sweet lime and oranges. We already done that. In that, we detect, we've been working on physical parameters for now. Parameters like size, color, shape, surface effect, patterns, pinholes caused by insects, all those parameters that have been detected. And when it comes to pricing models, this again depends on the commodity that you're working with. Like typically, it would be in the range of 30 paise to 50 paise a kilo, which is lower than the panel cost.
All right. Thank you. And with that, last but not the least, may I request Agam from Absolute to come on screen and enlighten us with what he's up to.
Thank you, Mr. Mall, and thanks everyone for this opportunity to be here. Absolute is a plant bioscience company and a precision ag company. Our core portfolio is very deeply rooted in the R&D DNA, and we study plant interactions a lot, something what Renika also touched upon earlier in the conversation. I'll just use a presentation to show what we exactly do. So our main line of business is in transforming how the world grows and then eventually trades. I like your touch point every time on who will pay for the service. So when we were building Absolute, we were very clear that we can grow very differentiated, better quality produce. We had built the world's first universal operating system, farm operating system, which could operate across diverse plantations. It could operate in a vertical farm, greenhouse, and open farms. And we built something called crop recipes, basically understanding crop biochemistry of each plant morphology and plant interactions, and then trying to create a baseline around what is the most optimal parametric value at which the plant feels that it can grow to the best of its potential. So almost like 6 years into R&D around that, and then eventually we were able to commercialize, but we realized that you can make very good technology, but eventually if nobody is paying for it, it's of no use. So we started building our trade business. Today we are a very large global trade business where we sort of grow these commodities, largely fresh fruits and vegetables in our captive farms, and then we supply these all across the world today in a number of countries. At Absolute, our core remains in the open ag platform that we have developed. So we have intersected plant bioscience, microbiology, hydrology with artificial intelligence. And what we are trying to bring out is, we talked about Universal Farm OS, which operates across different of these plantations and takes away basically ambiguity for growing. Apart from it, we continue to spend time understanding plant symbiotic relationship with microbes, with different sort of available biomolecules plus biological, either bacteria, fungus, or different sort of viruses. We try to sort of experiment, sequence to a full NGS on things and try to understand in depth what really does a plant like and what has it liked for billions of years, because they arrived much before humans arrived on Earth. So we sort of try to pull that universal equation out and build our product ranges on those universal equations. So one of our businesses, of course, very large business is in global trade. We are now setting up a business which is in building these very differential inputs, which will enable that differential commodity production. The reason why Absolute has become a well-known name in global trade business is because the produce quality is highly differentiated. What we are able to grow is very unique. It tastes different, it looks different. And that's primarily because the whole growing process is very tightly controlled, from proprietary germplasms to proprietary inputs to the whole growing methodology, which is very, very tightly controlled across diverse plantations. And that leads to eventually a successful trade business. So the Universal Farm OS that I was talking about works across all these different ranges of things. We today have sort of implemented this at about 40,000 acres of farmland across 63 different crops. We today have the world's largest grow basket in precision agriculture. In very, very deep precision agriculture, we have like 63 different crops. Almost every fruit and vegetable crop that you can think of, we are extending that to other category of crops. Farmers across a range of farms have seen increase in yield. The major challenge that we have been able to solve is when people try to switch to organic, their yield falls. What we have been able to bring about is the yield rather goes up rather than falls. With our input section of products, we have and it's still in trial. We've spent like 5 years now in trials in multiple sort of fields across different agroclimatic zones. We have been increasingly seeing that these are very high stability, high CFU products, and they can start action almost in tune with the same efficacy as what chemical does, or in some cases even better. We are creating some of the products which will eventually become some breakthrough products in the industry once they are launched in another 6 to 8 months across range of sections of farm inputs. But that's largely what we are doing. And as we say, I mean, everything that we do is for people and for planet. Everything that we do is biological in nature. Either the production that we do is all controlled biological production, it's all natural. And everything that we do is very, very deeply rooted in people that we work for, people who work for us. That's absolute. And I hand over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Agam. Rolly, can we see some questions yet?
Not yet, so we're just waiting.
Okay. I guess it falls on me to package till they arrive. Okay. So Agam, here we are. You mentioned 2 or 3 things, at least those that caught my imagination. CRISPR, right? What exactly is happening there? What are you chopping and cutting?
So because we are studying a lot of plant biochemical reactions, and we are also studying what enables a plant to grow in a certain way. Let's say there is a crop that doesn't like to grow in India. I mean, you just can't grow it in India. But if you can merge 2 varieties of crops together and then create an ambient condition automatically that there is a certain different crop growing on top, there is a different crop growing below it in the same plant, then you sort of change the overall environmental feel that the plant gets. And then you can also sort of play around with the biochemical processes happening in it. So while still being very natural and still playing around with hybrids, not getting into GM, there is a way using the science that we have today. We can figure out how do you ensure that better crop varieties can arrive, better crops can actually go on ground. And hence farmers see fundamentally, when the seed is better, the fundamental has changed, and fundamentally you'll grow a better crop. When the input has changed and it has become substantially better, again, a fundamental change has happened at scale in agriculture. You'll see a better output which will be derived from it. And fundamentally, if you know the plant biochemistry well, the whole biology, then you can eventually go and ensure that each plant, when it is growing, you are exactly sure about what is the carotenoid concentration, what is the chlorophyll concentration, what is happening to the plant, which disease can hit. And if you model it right, then we have increasingly seen that you are able to control it at least to 80-85% efficacy. That leads to a substantial increment in how people are growing and eventually the commodity that is consumed by people.
Let me paraphrase that. What you call precision ag was done imprecisely in the decades or centuries gone by, with farmers grafting one variety onto another, and thereby creating stronger varieties.
Yes.
Right? Getting the best of both. Obviously, they didn't go down to the submolecular level to do that. Right? Is that the direction you're headed as well?
So there is a deviation. Of course, there is a chapter that we learn from in history. So of course, grafting is not something new. It's been there for ages. Absolutely. But what fundamental change does the seed need? Which expressions need to be elevated and which expressions need to be laid the way they are? Which 2 different species need to interact together? And what is there a sort of an input stream which can enable that growing in a certain agroclimatic conditions? When you start looking at all those parameters together, it is only then that you create a successful formula for what will eventually be outstanding. Eyed in sort of singularity, there cannot be a success formula. So that's my opinion on your question.
Yeah, one more, and I'm hoping for questions for you. One more from my side as a filler. You talked about yield increase, right? Yield and quality increase are key to value increase. Yeah. So just enlighten us with examples of certain crops. What kind of yield and quality improvements have you had?
So, I mean, you can take a couple of crops, melons and maybe berries, and there we can talk about Brix index. How do you sort of improve the Brix index in crop? because that's one way people look at it. The second is, of course, how does the look change, the texture, and so ensuring that the texture is intact because most of the stuff that we do is global trade, so you have to ensure that the texture is pretty good. So ensuring texture, ensuring taste, and then ensuring size, which is great, which is what Kshitij touched upon a little while back. So ensuring those three things are fine is key to ensuring good global trade. And that is exactly what we are trying to improve on the farm level, fundamental changes to what people are growing. Now, if the quality grade changes, if the look becomes better, if the tastes become better, the farmer automatically makes more money because people will pay more for that sort of produce. So fundamentally, what you're trying to do is double farmers' income. My approach is that if there could be a market that could be brought back to the farm level and technology intervention could be done on the farm level, and if both these things can be integrated, most of the problems that we see at scale could be solved.
Thank you. Thank you, Agam. That was fascinating indeed. Raleigh, do we have any questions for Agam?
So there's one which says, what's the revenue model?
Ah, that was for him. I see it now. Yeah. Okay.
So very simple. We largely are in trade business. So everything differential that we are able to grow, we trade. We have a large market for it. Today, we have almost a massively large market than what we are able to sort of produce. So we are tying up with many people to sort of work with and then sort of improve the cultivation practice, then eventually be able to trade. We realize that farmers don't have that extra penny to, they're already pretty stressed up. So asking farmer for money for anything, probably not the right way in a developing country like India, in my opinion. So yeah, that's our sense. The output side can be leveraged if it is differential.
To which I predict simply that when you say the farmer can't afford it, I know this guy called the farmer a little bit. He's probably the wisest and canniest of the human beings on earth. He can smell money, right? Show it to him once, he'll come back to you with your price. Okay, so we are at 57 and a half minutes. And I think that made for a fascinating and efficient session. I am deeply grateful for all the 7 who spoke today to bring various facets. And I dare say that my personal aspiration from this session has been fully covered. My deep thanks to CII's team for curating this and bringing these 7 speakers on screen. I wish it was in person. We'd have got more. You know, the quality of questions that are coming are so telegraphic that or WhatsAppic that it's difficult to figure out what the real question is. But I think a personal meeting would have been great. Hopefully the next session of this work from FACE CII would be face-to-face. And I look forward to that. With that, thank you so much, everybody. And signing off. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I request all the participants to please join us for a very interesting panel session on soil health and water management at 4:30. In the session, we have speakers from Germany, Australia, Finland, Netherlands, and others speaking on innovative technologies. I request you all to please log in 15 minutes prior for that, and also would like to thank our chair and all our speakers and panelists who joined us for this session. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you, everyone, for a great session. All the startup, thank you so much for coming. Great show by Sandeep, Renuka, Kshitij. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye.